Hello there, and welcome to the end of week 2. I hope you've had a really great week. I just want to give you a reminder, shout out that you have quite a few things that are due in a few days. Tomorrow you have journals, and you also have the quiz on short stories due. So again, that's journal log for short story due, and the quiz for short story due. If you're not sure where to find them, the quiz is obviously listed under quizzes, and the journal is under assignments. In fact, all the work, discussions, journal logs, essay assignments, essays, everything's under assignments. I'm just going to click on it as a little refresher, just to remind you about it. Sorry about that. I mean, it's a cool ringtone though, right? Okay. Okay, here we are. We're under assignments here. I'm just going to scroll down just as a reminder. We have our discussions. The discussions 4, 5, and 6 for week 2 short story are due on Saturday before midnight, 1 minute before midnight. Do not get locked out like Cinderella and have your carriage turn back into a pumpkin. If we keep scrolling down here, you will see their journal log is due tomorrow night at 11:59, and then also the quiz is due tomorrow night also at 11:59. So make sure that you're on it. For the quiz, you're going to need your reading on short story, and that can be found, if you for some reason haven't already downloaded it, under the announcements. Just kidding. It's in a few places. It's under files here. You know, you have to just kind of cruise around sometimes. Syllabus is here. All the images I'm using are here. You can ignore those or not. What are stories here? You can click on that. So again, you're going to need this for the quiz. It's pretty important because it goes, it follows the exact wording pretty much from this packet. And there are 33 questions worth 50 points total. They're all fill in the blank. So again, quiz is due tomorrow as a friendly reminder. I'm going to exit out of that, which was a bad idea. I should have backed out. So I'm going back into the course. So again, just as a quick reminder, you have 3 discussions due tomorrow for week 2. Journal logs and quizzes are due tomorrow before midnight. And on to week 3. So those of you that are beginning to start week 3, I just want to kind of show you what that's about. You're going to go back to the home page. You're going to go to modules, and you are going to go to week 2. Excuse me, unit 2. And so that is here. So by the time you start, or by the time we start next week, I should say, you will be on unit 2 here. But there is one more thing you'll still be working on, just as a reminder, and that's essay number 1. That is not due until Monday, and the reason for that is so you can continue after posting something on the discussion to work on your essay, so you can work on it a bit more and then submit it on Monday by midnight. So I'm just going to click on it as a reminder. Essay number 1, I did make a video that goes over what I'm asking for, but just as a friendly reminder, you have 2 options for essay number 1. They both involve working with short stories that we've read the last couple weeks, and then the essay requirements are here. I have turned the essay requirements into a rubric, and that is how I will be grading it. It has all these wonderful things on it, and so that will be my grading. There's one thing I forgot to add, super crucial. I'm going to add it now in case you're watching this video so you are mindful of it. It's something you already know, but I'm going to add it anyways because I forgot to put it on here. So again, a solid thesis or argument about the short stories that is developed throughout the essay. So again, just a reminder, you already know this. You can't really have an essay without an argument. I'm sure you can, but it probably won't be a very good one. Not for the purposes that we're doing. So again, I'm going to edit that just as a friendly reminder. Essay number 1 is due July 2nd. That will be next week on Monday. So please stay on top of that work. Remember, this class is flying by already, and it's just going to continue to fly by. It gets really thick in the middle, so weeks 3 and 4, we're going super fast because we have 1 week for poetry in week 3. We have 1 week for plays, and we're reading the play Fences by August Wilson in week 4. So those of you that are really planning ahead, I would start reading those if you haven't already, just to kind of get your mind wrapped around poetry and also play. Different. Drama and poetry are very different, not just from one another, but from short stories and other kinds of writing that we do, and readings that we do. You kind of want to get into that headspace of creativity. So again, weeks 3 and 4 are packed because we're going over this, some really complex concepts and ideas in a really short amount of time. Plus you're writing an essay for both of those units. So 2 more essays, 1 in each of those units. We're going to end the semester with A Wrinkle in Time and some amazing discussions, looking at literary scholarship that discusses the novel and why it's been banned for so many years, and also exploring a story of a young girl who is in search of her father. And so more to come on that later. Friendly reminder, one more time, for those of you that really need to hear it, your essay is due on Monday, your essay on short story. I would highly encourage you to read it to someone else, to get feedback on it from someone else. You can always email or do a shout out to a classmate or sit your mom or dad down, a friend, a lover down, and read it to them or talk about it with them. That's an opportunity for you to push your thinking further. But on to week 3. I'm just going to back up to unit 3. And going back to the modules, unit 2, week 3. Here we are. So this is our snapshot of poetry, just as a kind of quick little overview here. I'll break this down for you like I did for week 2 in little chunks of videos that are connected to each of the discussions that kind of go over it, and hopefully in more detail than the directions. Sometimes it's hard to read directions and fully grasp what it is you're being expected to do, you're being asked to do, what my expectations are. But so far you guys are doing a tremendous job. I'm really, really, really proud of you. Really excited too. It's so stimulating to read your ideas and to see how much of risk takers you are and how honest you are with your responses. It's really cool. So, unit 2. We have 3 discussions like we always do during the week. We have a journal log on poetry. We have a quiz on poetry, which is not yet finished. It's under construction right now. But again, it will follow a similar structure to the quiz on short story. You will be reading for one of these discussions here. The first one, you will be reading a packet that gives you all the juicy details about poetry. You're not going to have to remember any of the information in the packet. It's far too much. But it will spark all of the wonderful things you've already been taught or heard or wanted to know about poetry. So brace yourself for that. Get your highlighter out if you've printed it out, or your marker, and really engage with the text. It's a lot of information. So that's just a warning. Again, you are not expected to memorize any of this stuff because memorization only gets you so far. So I'm going to make a separate video on this. I just wanted to give you a little snippet of that. It's sideways. When it's scanned, you're going to rotate it so that it looks like this. 25 pages is a lot of information to go over in just one discussion. So I would encourage you to print this out and to use a highlighter and a marker, a pen, and engage with the text. Write questions in the margins, make comments in the margins. If something stirs you or excites you or it connects to something you already know, that is the place and time to write down that little note that you have, like, oh, I was wondering about this, or this is so cool, or for me, I'll do smiley faces, or I'll write WTF, or OMG, or super sad on the side if I have some kind of emotional response that is evoked. And so again, annotating as you read is a really great strategy for trying to imprint information and make it more meaningful in your heart, in your mind. Connecting to things that you already know. That's the key with learning, is taking that tree, those neurological pathways called dendrites that are growing, and plugging in more information and allowing those dendrites, like trees, to grow more and more branches. And that is how our brains work. We're sponges. We're sponge trees. Sounds weird. Not to be confused with SpongeBob. Sponge trees. You want to grow, 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 grow. Take information we already know and plug in more information. And just kind of see where that takes us. So again, lots of information in this particular reading. It's similar to short stories in that it goes over the concepts. There is so much here. I'm just scrolling through it. So how do you read poems? Just giving you kind of an introduction into it, the audience and rhetorical situation, paraphrasing, citing, those kinds of things. Also, it goes over really more in-depth on poetry. And again, you're not expected to recite this from memory. Things we've already discussed, symbols and metaphors, they're especially important in poetry because poetry structure is so very different from short stories and other creative pieces. But again, I'm just scrolling through to show you. I just want to kind of point out those of you that are watching the video and wondering about what's to come for you regarding poetry and or feeling, super excited about learning more or nervous and anxious about maybe not feeling confident that you can intake this information. I just want to send you a reminder about structure and rhyme and meter and all of the concepts for poetry. This is all stuff that you may be learning, and that's okay. It's very important and crucial, in fact, that when you are learning new information, that you're calm and that you feel safe and that you feel open to pushing yourself beyond what you thought you were capable. And so again, you don't have to memorize any of this information, but I'm just scrolling to kind of give you a sense of how meaty it is because it talks about a lot of stuff. And some of it at the end here is about how do you write about poems and the writing process. And many of you from the short story packet, you took a lot of information from that had to do with the writing process, about actually understanding writing as a process. That is super important, right? We don't just sit in a dark room by ourselves with a little lamp on typing away and we bust out this brilliant draft. Writing really doesn't work that way. It takes time and energy and revisions and distance away from our ideas so we can go back in and we can see things that we didn't see the first time around. And so, again, I just want to encourage you to be patient with that. That's just a little snippet of the first discussion for week 3 next week. And then going back to the module 2, unit 2 for week 3 on poetry, we will only be spending 1 week on it. And so it's going to be really fast. So again, I encourage you to get ahead, at least stay on track, but definitely get ahead. It will make you feel better. Most of you are already doing that. Those of you that aren't doing that are watching this video, I'm really kind of focused on you and really wanting you to engage more and feel more confident and spend a little bit more time on your thinking and your writing. A little bit of concentrated work and pure effort goes a long way. It's amazing. You know this, right? You absolutely know this. Same thing goes when you're working out, right? A little bit of energy and time in the gym goes a long way if you're doing it with some kind of discipline. So same with writing. So we've got 2 more discussions 8 and 9. And then as usual, we have our journal log. And I will be making you videos that go over these things. And then I will be posting them in the appropriate discussions. So look out for those videos. I hope this helped you to feel like you're connected with me and with the class. You guys are doing an impressive job. It's really fun to give you feedback. I apologize if I haven't given you enough feedback or, feedback on every single discussion or thing that you've turned in. But I'm doing my best, and it's a lot of work. And if you need or want anything, you're more than welcome to email me or call me, and I can give you feedback quickly in that manner as well. So I hope that you're focused and you get your work in tomorrow and Saturday for week 2, and I look forward to seeing what's in store week 3 and what ideas you come up with.